Why is it that in competitive League of Legends, teams have to think carefully about which side of the map they start in? What difference does it make if they start on the red or blue side? Well, it all has to do with draft theory. Draft theory is a collection of tested general propositions regarding the pick and ban phase of League of Legends that can be used as principles of explanation and prediction for competitive drafting. In a tournament-style draft, there is a defined order in which teams pick and ban their champions. Depending on the strategic game plan of the team, picking either the blue or red side of the map will bring its own set of pros and cons that ultimately influence the dynamics of drafting. So for those out there who might feel lost and overwhelmed over the pick and ban phase in competitive play, in this video I will explain the draft theory behind picking the blue or red side of the map. To begin with, let's first understand the order in which the champions are selected in a tournament-style draft. First, both sides must ban out 3 champions of their choosing. Any champion can be banned, but the most common ones are those that are strong in the current meta or serve as pocket picks for the enemy team. After the bans are over, the first pick goes to the blue side. Then, the red side can pick 2 champions. Blue then answers with 2 champions of their own, and then red finalizes the first phase of pick and bans with 1 champion. The second phase of pick and bans start, where both teams get to ban 2 champions of their choosing. Usually roles that have not yet been picked will have their respective champions banned. Then, red side picks 1 champion, which blue side answers with their final 2 champions. Lastly, red side gets to pick the last champion of the entire draft, ending the pick and ban phase. Okay, now that we know how tournament drafting works, I can now explain to you guys why in competitive play, choosing the red or blue side has so much impact on the draft. Let's start with the blue side. What are the advantages of having blue side selection? The first and most obvious one is getting priority in the banning phase of the draft. And this is a result of blue side getting to pick the first champion. So for example, if a team is on the blue side and they want to grab a popular OP or flexible champion such as Aphelios, Zed or Ornn, then there is no need for them to ban out all of these champions. Blue side has the luxury to keep these OP champions open since they will be able to pick first in the draft. Another advantage blue side has as a result of being able to pick first is the ability to inadvertently shape the red side's team composition. Even if the first champion the blue picks is not necessarily OP or flexible or strong in isolation, such as a Yuumi, we see how powerful of a decision it can be to first pick this particular champion. In this example, we see Yuumi being first picked here by G2, and Mad understands that Yuumi must be paired with Ezreal or any other type of hyper-scaling AD carry with decent mobility to be effective. So Mad, being in the red side, must take away the Ezreal and also pick a support that will be able to punish Yuumi in lane, which in this case is Leona. Even though Mad had no prior intention of picking Ezreal and Leona, which is not the most ideal bot lane duo, the first pick Yuumi essentially forced them to react in that way. However, Mad's picks didn't really affect G2 since G2 knew that Mad would take away the Ezreal, so they came prepared with Vayne, which at this point has not been played in the LEC for a long time. Vayne is a good choice to pair with Yuumi, because just like Ezreal, she scales very well, has decent mobility with her tumble, and has incredible dueling power when paired with the magical cat. As long as the two don't get too behind in the early game, the draft will favor them, and because it was none other than G2 playing it, the Yuumi Vayne combo worked marvelously against Mad's team composition, giving us an idea of how important the first pick in draft can be. Moving on to my next point, having blue side selection also allows teams to pick 2 champions in the second pick and ban phase that can complement each other and shape the team composition. This is of course as long as red doesn't ban out or take away the desired duo. For example, after seeing 4 champions from the red side, the ADC and support duo can be picked in blue 4 or blue 5, which may give them an edge in the draft. In this case, it's the Kalista Thresh, 2 champions that complement each other's kits while providing much needed damage and utility to the overall team composition. There aren't a lot of answers to this particular bot lane duo, especially if red side already picked an ADC to begin with. Taking the Alistar last pick is quite bad here, since he does not provide any pressure in the laning phase of the game, and must rely on the mid to late game teamfights to be effective. I would have much rather preferred a Morgana. So taking all of these things into account, if a team has a solid draft that they have meticulously planned for, picking blue side is generally the better option since it gives you the freedom to first pick and also create an ideal champion combination before the red side, forcing them to react accordingly. Now let's look over as to why you would want to be on the red side of the draft. As I have mentioned already in my explanation of blue side's advantages, the red side typically wants to react to blue's draft rather than pick themselves a defined team composition. Blue side will always finish their team composition first, so red side has the ability to see the first 3 picks by the end of the first phase and then the complete draft by the end of the second phase, before they finalize their own draft, which is useful for developing strategies to counter blue's team composition. The biggest advantage of picking red side is obviously the fact that you can pick last in the draft, and depending on blue side's champions, the last pick in red side can be pretty devastating. For example, in this game between FPX versus Fnatic, we see that FPX is going for a split push composition with the Ryze Camille. Fnatic realizes this, and so they save their last pick for Bwipo's top lane, who can now see the entirety of FPX's comp and decides to counter it with the Rengar. Rengar is a very good choice here because he can answer most champions in the side lanes with his incredible sustain and damage, paired with the fact that he can move very quickly with his ultimate in case a fight breaks out. Rengar also wins a lot of top lane matchups. As you can see in this game, Bwipo's Rengar managed to solo kill Camille and almost collect 50 more minions over Gimgun. The same thing happened in the game between Origen versus G2, where Origen last picked the Zed. Zed does not do well against tanks or any form of hard crowd control or peel, which is why he's usually not picked first since he can be easily countered. However, Zed does exceptionally well if the enemy team is squishy, has a lackluster early game, and is susceptible to getting collapsed on the side lanes, which is exactly what G2's draft looks like. And you guessed it, the Zed pick absolutely destroyed G2, giving us an idea as to why picking red side can give strategic advantage to a team's pick and bans. Here is a summary of what we have learned today. Blue side has ban priority, first pick, forces red to react, and can pick a strong duo for their final picks. Red side can see blue's first 3 picks along with the final 5, and they can have the luxury to last pick their champion to gain a drafting advantage over blue. So that is it. I hope you now understand why in competitive play, teams take side selection very seriously when planning out their drafts. Thank you for watching the first episode of Draft Theory. If you like this kind of content, make sure to subscribe and leave a like. The next episode will be about flexes, counters, blind picks, and duos, so stay tuned for that.